Hey guys, I'm Rich. Welcome to Rich with Cars. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. I talk about all kinds of different automotive content, including reviews, car events, and like this video, issues of long-term ownership of vehicles. In this particular issue, we're going to talk about the ownership experience and the issues experienced with a BMW M5 F90. It's a 2018. This particular example right here behind me is my brother's, which I've had the pleasure of driving many times. I've actually even had it for several months at a time as well. I believe this one has about 35,000 miles on it and a good lineup of issues that we've experienced with it so far. Nonetheless, it's been a great experience so far with this car. It's a rocket ship but also a luxury vehicle at the same time. So guys, strap in, let's take a look. Starting right off, now these issues are in no particular chronological order, but ultimately I want to talk to you guys about all the different issues that my brother has faced and also I faced because I've had some time with this vehicle. So the first thing was, while driving, all of a sudden the driver assistance, which you can't really see anywhere, but you do get some like vibration on the steering wheel. You get some front collision warnings. Nevertheless, what ended up happening was we got a warning message here in the middle infotainment screen saying that the driver assistance has been disabled and basically couldn't actually function. We could still drive the car, but it basically the notification said to bring it to the dealer. Also at the same time, we had this, which was in amber, and it was actually all off. It had turned everything off while driving. So basically we're driving without any of the driver assistance functions. What it ended up being, and I'll show you guys on the screen a little excerpt of the service record. It was basically something having to do with the steering wheel vibration actuator and another module that was inside the steering wheel itself, which had to be replaced. Once they got that and they cleared all the notifications, finally it was able to get fixed. So that was issue number one. Issue number two really came from a noise that we kept on hearing somewhere in the back, and it wasn't continuous, but it was during certain maneuverability while driving the vehicle. It was some noise coming from the rear, and it sounded like a grinding noise. Most of the time it happened while we're going over speed bumps slowly, and then maybe sometimes getting off and on curbs, like entrance curbs or exit curbs, for example. Story short, we brought it to the service department, and what it ended up being was rear differential dust cover. So apparently that was somewhat either misaligned or it was faulty, and it actually started grinding against the actual axle itself and the differential, not the differential, but the axle. So as you were doing certain maneuvers, it actually caused that dust shield for the rear differential to actually rub against it, which caused a grinding noise. So ultimately, I'll show you guys also a small excerpt of the service record. They ended up replacing that and the noise went away. The other issue that we've been facing, my brother actually brought it to the dealership. They said that they found nothing, but unfortunately my brother doesn't know much about cars. He's not much of a, I guess, a car enthusiast. But ultimately it was, and I've seen this in the forums, where as soon as you start the car it automatically shuts off. And I started reading through the forums, and it seemed to be a common issue amongst a lot of F90 M5 owners, being that the issue was the low pressure fuel pump that got replaced, that it wasn't actually sending enough fuel to the engine on lower RPMs, which basically understandably would probably cause the engine to automatically shut off. Now I'll show you guys how it looks like, because I took some video in order to show the dealership, because this has not been resolved yet. We're actually going to bring it to the dealership this coming week and see what ends up happening, but I'll show you guys the video now. There you go. Start it and then they turn back off. Let's try it again. Now it worked. Oh yeah, and of course, check engine light. I wonder if that's actually associated to most likely the low pressure fuel pump. So ultimately that's what the issue is. You turn it on, it automatically shuts off. It's not all the time. It's probably 1 out of every 10 or 15 times that you turn on the car. I've gotten it both actually on cold start, and I've gotten it also after driving several miles, turning off the car, 5 minutes later trying to turn it back on, and it actually turns back off right after. Nothing in terms of like you can't operate the vehicle, you just have to start it back up again. But it is a little bit odd to have that issue on such a high-end vehicle. So hopefully the dealership will take a look at this and look at the video that I've also shown you guys and see if maybe they end up seeing that it's also the low pressure fuel pump. And that's basically it. So keeping our fingers crossed for that. And just yesterday, that just popped up. Now, of course, I've read through the forums. A lot of people say it's not a big deal. It can go away after 3 or 4 days. They say that if it actually ends up lasting more than 3 days, that you should take it to the dealership. I think it probably is related to that fuel pump issue, perhaps, but I don't have any other notifications or warnings or anything. That's the other thing that I've read in the forums, and even read through some of the BMW manuals, that if you get a check engine failure notification on your dash, but you get no notification on your infotainment system, then it seems like it's not a major issue. So as you guys can see over here, it shows that all systems are okay. And yeah, we'll just take it to the dealership for the, have them check this as well. But something else that I've noticed as well, I don't know if any other BMW M5 F90 owners have experienced this, but when I'm on idle, for example, say for example when I'm just sitting at the red light, or sitting here right now where I'm at with the car on, I feel like the engine is sort of vibrating a bit, as if it's either misfiring, or maybe it has to do with the low pressure fuel pump, and it feels like the engine is not as smooth. So maybe that check engine light over there has to do with that. We'll just have to wait and see. I'll have to mention it to the dealership and see what they come up with. And lastly, we still haven't been able to really find a diagnosis for it. My brother took it to the dealership about 6 months ago, told them about this issue, but apparently when you actually regulate the temperature, for example, and I just drove this car about 1,000 miles, and I experienced it multiple times already, where I actually try to regulate the temperature to a lower temp. It'll be cold, and then all of a sudden warm air will come out of nowhere. Nothing else has changed. And you have to, usually what I ended up doing was I bring the temperature all the way down to the lowest temperature setting, and then it's somewhat as if like it resets the regulator for the temperature, and then cold air starts coming back out. I've read in the forums that a lot of other people have had issues with the HVAC system, with the M5 and other BMWs as well. It seems like it's got its own little gremlins in that as well. So, we're taking it to the dealership as well to have them check the AC system to see if there's anything wrong. But it does push out cold air most of the time, but then sometimes it just has like a little gremlin that comes in, and all of a sudden warm air will come out. So you have to start playing around with the settings, and then it'll all of a sudden come back to cold. Maybe there's something in the settings that I didn't catch, but I think I don't know, it's probably a gremlin that they have to check. But most of the time, as you guys know, if you cannot find or duplicate the system, and I'm saying if the dealership can't duplicate the system, then if no error codes show up in their onboard computer when they plug it into the car, then they can't really tell you what it is, unless they also experience it and duplicate it. So let's find out what ends up happening. Hopefully I can give you guys a little update on that once we have the visit to the dealership. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this really quick video of some of the issues going through an ownership experience of a 2018 BMW F90 M5. I'll give you guys an update once I come back from the service apartment. Hopefully it'll be by next week. And I hope that it'll help you if you're actually considering a used F90 M5 to seriously look at some of these issues alongside with some of the stuff that you can also find in the forum. So guys, once again, thank you very much for all the support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, take care. Bye-bye.